And we are live in the group. They caught me drinking water.
Nice.
I told you, they always catch me doing something. It's like, oh, well, what can I say? So welcome, Sunny.
Thank you, Michelle.
I am so glad to have you as part of Resonant Essentials.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
You are one of our more eclectic and amazing practitioners in all that you do. You just floor me. You must stay busy all the time.
I do. I'm not sure if it's ADHD. I don't like to diagnose myself with anything, but I do keep myself busy. I have a mantra that says I can't do nothing. So I do something every day, many somethings usually.
You do, because it blew me away when you go, oh yeah, I do tiny homes. That is so great. I want a little bit bigger than a tiny home, and I don't want it 2 stories. That's my fantasy.
I like tiny homes. They're a lot easier to clean. I've done a lot of jobs in my life. One of them has been a housekeeper. And I decided when I was a housekeeper, I said, I will never have a house this big in my life.
That's the way I've lived in the same place for many years, and it's not a real big space. I don't need all this. And now that the kids are grown, it may have gotten on my nerves when the kids were young and they wouldn't clean their rooms, but now that they're gone, I have all this room and I don't care. And but I love watching how they build the tiny houses, and they do, but I'm not one with my, I do not want to have to climb stairs up and down, although that would probably really be good for my health.
I never liked stairs either. I'm not a fan of stairs.
I always fall down. That's why. I trip, I fall. It's okay. Anyway, we're here to talk about how amazing you are, and welcome to Resonant Essentials. So, are you from Albuquerque originally?
No, I was born in Florida, so I'm a native Floridian. But that's where my dad's from. My mom's from New York. I've bounced back between those 2 states a bunch, but I've been in New Mexico the last 20 years of my life. So I tell people I'm pretty native to this state.
Yeah, I would say, because gosh, you look old enough to have bounced back and forth between parents and be 20 years in New Mexico. But you got your education here, right?
Yes. I finished high school here almost up until I would say my junior year. I'd spent a year at every school between here and Florida. So it's just basically, I did not have a lot of friends growing up. I ended up making friends wherever I went. But I did end up I graduated in Grants, New Mexico, the last 3 years of my high school education. And then I got my associates there, and I got my bachelor's here at UNM. So.
Wow, Grant. I'm a Gallup girl myself.
Ooh, lovely. It's so beautiful out there, all the red rock.
I know, right? It's some of the prettiest country, I think, that New Mexico has. Although I love Taos too. I mean, there's not a place that I love New Mexico.
It's the land of enchantment for a reason. It is very beautiful no matter where you go.
It is. And I think, I was talking to somebody, it was really funny, is they were telling me they know people that are leaving because they can't stand it. And I said, a lot of people don't understand that we have the selenite grid line that goes up from Mexico down up, the giant selenite caves, Colorado, and there's patches of all these crystals that run underneath. It's the 505 line. And I found out about this by talking with Leila Hutchinson, who has a really great book on that. Selenite caves, whatever. I say selenite, everybody else is wrong. I'm right. Anyway, so if you resonate to this area, you thrive it. And if you don't, you really have a hard time.
Right? The people who do not call this place the land of enchantment, they call it the land of entrapment. And so you're either part of it. You got to choose one.
Right. Well, New Mexico told that this would be one of the healing meccas of the new age. And everybody thought it was supposed to be Santa Fe, but Albuquerque has some really powerful people here, aka Sunny Stormbringer.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, when you did the reading for me, we vet everybody. I'm letting everybody know I vet everybody. Yours was really unusual, but so dead on. So I really enjoyed that reading because I like seeing different work. I don't care if you use tarot cards and use them the same as everybody or use them differently. You have to make it yours, and you have definitely made your gifts all yours. So
Well, thank you. Thank you.
such a beautiful opportunity. I wanted to let everybody know that you're here with us. Um, you're so amazing. You got your degree and you did fine arts, correct?
Yes, in English studies.
No, honey, I am going to so you to work for me.
I've always been
Someone
interested in.
check me everywhere.
Thanks. Well, I've always been interested in, the humanities in general. And when I was growing up, I wanted to be a writer. So that was the degree I kind of pursued. I didn't go to college right away because I felt as if my education was very much forced upon me. I think it's forced upon everybody. And
Yeah.
it took me some time, a couple years before I was like, all right, I want to know what I want to do before I go and I spend a whole bunch of money and get a bunch of student loans. So I was like, I know I really want to be a writer. So that's what I went and ended up doing. And when I got introduced to the tarot, it just seemed natural for me to add both of those elements together, the writing, the editing, and the metaphysical um, form of divination together. And for me personally, whenever people would give me reads, I wouldn't remember what they said afterwards. And it was important for me to be able to, for my reads, make sure that whoever walked away with at least some notes on the reads so that they could look back on them later if they had any questions. So yeah, I do my reads the way I wish someone would have done them for me.
Right. And I tell people all the time, it's important that accuracy is involved. And for somebody who's as passionate as you are, your grades always come out very clear, very well defined. They can't possibly not remember, even if they're taking, like I take notes, because I took notes on you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I take notes, I try to link it to something so it triggers exactly what the person said. But I used to take notes. I would look back and go, what the heck was that about? I can't remember because it was glossed over or it came with there's so much description that the message itself got lost.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a way that helps really when you read, you just do it so beautifully because the message doesn't get lost.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. That's nice to know.
Thinking about it, let me tell you, as everybody will tell you, I will tell people, I'm sorry, this didn't make sense to me. So help me define this. But you don't even have to tell you that. You were right on.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it's up in the cabinet under a file I have called readings, practitioner readings. And I have readings from 30 years ago that talk about the time we're in right now.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yes. And I advise people, I tell them all the time, it's not about the read if you don't put it to use. Otherwise, you're just throwing your money away. If you don't see the pattern and how it's going. So I've kept logs and always surprises me looking back. So what are your other things that you do? Because you're a master gardener. Oh, I answered my own question.
Yes, yes, I'm a master gardener. I was diagnosed with celiac disease. Oh my gosh, what is it now? 7 years ago. And ever since then, I have been in pursuit of what caused me to get this disease. I was like, why? Um, Later in my life, when I've already enjoyed pizza and pasta and Twizzlers for so long, why is this happening to me now?
I'm
And
sorry for your pain.
oh, it was rough. It was the hardest thing to ever detox from gluten, let me tell you. Um, but it was necessary. And, I found out that my aunt had celiac disease, luckily. If somebody else in your family can get diagnosed before you, it makes it a lot easier. And even though it wasn't good news, it was some news. And the only cure for that disease is a gluten free diet, which I could have come out with a much worse disease where I had to take something every day. So, as far as just having a clean diet goes, that was probably one of the best maladies I could have probably got. But anyway, it caused me to spiral into a huge rabbit hole of where our food comes from and um, what it's doing crossing our seas and traveling, how long it takes to get to the grocery store. So that was a huge endeavor for me to just have to do. And I decided that everything that I was going to eat from now on was going to be something that I grew. And as somebody who had not really done much gardening in their life, that was a huge endeavor for me to travel upon and challenge. And so that's what I did. I eat books for breakfast. Most of what I know comes from books. I've read thousands of books in my lifetime. So I figured as far as gardening goes, that was going to help me in the same way. And it did. I devoured books on, introductory to gardening, and I took classes and I learned how to garden. And so now I do that professionally as a living because I figured if I'm going to have to be eating clean food, already. It's not that much of a stretch for me to grow for other people to make sure that they're also eating clean food. I really do think that instead of there being a pill for every ill, that there's a seed for every need. And I go ahead and I live my life that way. And it's unconventional to say the least. Not a lot of people would choose to be a farmer, would choose to be a gardener. But for me, I love being out there with Mother Nature every day. I think in order to do the work that I do, I have to be able to perceive energy. Energy is best worked with when it can be perceived. And I know a lot of people who, when they're getting into shamanism, the first thing that their mentors say is, I can't teach you anything until you learn how to garden. And for me, it was the same.
You know, that's so true because I spent so much time. I used to have when I was doing alternative healthcare, I had a garden in my backyard of the office so that I could grow for my clients and for myself. Of course, the squirrels attacked me one year and they got better than I did. Um, believe me, there was that issue. But I think the hardest thing about people don't realize is that it tastes so much better when you're growing it yourself. It's you can grow an entire salad in a big pot. It can be done. I've got fresh garlic that one of our old clients, Epi, who would come into the center, brought me a plethora of garlic. And it's just, I looked this morning, I was like, wow, last week you were nothing.
Right? Yeah, my plants have doubled in size since then too. It's just since the equinox, they just get bigger and bigger with as much sunlight as we're getting.
Right. So
I could talk
exciting.
about plants all day.
So jealous. I would love to have the time just to hang out in my yard because you're right. The energy, there's a really great thing that I did. And I'll tell you about it later. It's one of those things that you go to connect to the energy is I sat and I read the book of Enoch.
Mm.
And when the ancient energies came up and surrounded me, and it was such an amazing experience. It takes you a good 4 or 5 hours to really read it, but within an hour, you can feel the energy building and the ancient beings coming in. that might be something you might enjoy.
Oh, for sure. I wrote it down. I was like, oh, I'll read that book later too.
Yeah. See how good you are? So tell me this. I mean, you're gonna be at the psychic fairs, right?
Yes.
So you'll be at the psychic fair. Tell me you're at tell everybody we're at Resonant Essentials. I'm gonna wait a minute before you do. If anybody has any questions they want to ask Sunny, please pop in and say give us your question. Rosie says, hello ladies, I'm so happy to see you both. She lived in a 516 square foot house. So much easier. Sunny, we are happy to have you as a practitioner at Resonant Essentials. That's all from Rosie. So if anybody has any who's watching for Sunny, please put them in the chat and I'll ask her. But so when are you at Resonant Essentials?
So I'm at Resonant Essentials on Wednesdays from 10 to 5, but I'm open to any other appointments. You just got to private message me beforehand and let me know so that I can work it out with one of the other practitioners who works that day. But yeah, as far as like whole days go, I'm there reliably Wednesdays.
So do you do Zoom meet? I'm stuttering here. Do you do Zoom appointments as well as over the phone appointments?
Yes, I do Zoom appointments. I can also do Facebook chat messenger appointments. If people don't want to meet face to face, I can do email appointments as well.
There you go. How much do you charge for a session?
Right now I'm charging for my listening therapy sessions, which is just you coming in and me listening to your life for 30 minutes. That's $30. It's just charging $1 a minute. And if you want to integrate some cards into that, I can do Oracle or I can do tarot cards, and that's anywhere between 20 to 45 minutes. That's $45 a session. And then I also do hypnotherapy sessions, which people get a little bit dicey about hypnotherapy. There's a lot of misinformation about hypnotherapy, but I think it's just basically daydream therapy. It's like a guided meditation, and that's $200 for 2 hours.
Well, I did not realize you did that too. I did realize it. I just forgot. I'm going to apologize.
Oh, you're fine.
People are going to be shocked at the listening therapy. I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that is much needed because I'd like you to explain it to people so that they understand exactly what this is about and how you came about doing listening therapy, because that's probably one of the most compassionate, brilliant things to do for someone. So please.
Sure. I've noticed in my work, just getting into mental health, that there is no untraumatized human being on this planet. All of us have some sort of trauma or affliction of some kind or another, and therapy is so expensive and it's very difficult to get into. Most therapists that I've noticed, it takes like 2 months out before they can even meet you, and even then, it's like, are you even going to like this therapist? There's a lot of hoops to jump through. And for me, I just see so many people that are just in pain and suffering, that have nowhere to go and no one to turn to, and they can't talk to their friends or family because they're too close to the situation. And where I come in, I'm an active listener. That's one of my many gifts, is when you're talking to me, you know that I'm hearing you in that way. And so I've found that even just talking to people, they've even told me it's like, it's so good to just be heard. Um, I wanted to talk to somebody, but I didn't want them to tell me what to do. I really just needed to vent. And so that's where I come in. It's like, I really feel as if most people need to speak aloud to themselves. I really do feel as if everybody knows exactly what is wrong with them as soon as they speak about it out loud. Like, until they can say it, they can't have a conscious understanding of what it is. But as soon as they're talking to somebody, they're like, wow, that was really my problem all along, and I just never realized it. But they did. They just had to get it out of them. So for me, it's like, it's not my job to tell people what to do. It's my job to help people figure out what to do for themselves. And most of the time, they come to that conclusion literally by speaking out loud. So that's my listening therapy, is just we're sitting down for 30 minutes and I'm asking you powerful questions about yourself and your psyche and what's going on in your life, so you can get a better understanding of even yourself and what's going on around you, so you can make the best educated decision on how best to help yourself.
I love that because so many times people have pain that their whole family is so tired of hearing about. Grief is one of those aspects, which is why I got into grief recovery for people, because they need a place to express their grief. There does come a time where you have to kind of cut people off in the aspect of they're not doing anything to change the face of it. And as much as you want to help them, sometimes helping them means cutting them off because they need to face that. It can't always be somebody else's fault. But at the same time, it's a great place to be able to have somebody hear you where it's not, there's not, for example, I know families that if somebody mentions something, then retribution comes shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel safe expressing their frustration or pain. And validation. Sometimes just having somebody listen to you without saying, oh, that's just stupid, shut up. The validation is in the listening. So it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing that you offer there that I don't know that too many people really get that, but they're all over social media posting their drama because they really need somebody to hear them.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing that you're offering. So thank you. We love having you, especially for those guests.
Well, thank you.
So how did
I
you
really,
go ahead?
huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Get into hypnotherapy.
Hypnotherapy, I got into, this is a very long story. But after I got my celiac disease, then I got another stomach issue, and it took me many, many, many months to really figure out what that issue was on top of my celiac. And I spent a lot of time with gastroenterologists, and I spent a lot of time with UNM's health system, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. I couldn't eat more than like a $50 worth of gruel a day. It was very bad. I lost so much weight, and just for months on end, I was just suffering and wasn't able to work. And I finally was able to get an endoscopy done. And from that endoscopy, I was able to get a picture. And from that picture, I was able to Google what was wrong with me. And I found out that I had gastritis. And it was kind of funny because my gastroenterologist all this time was telling me that I needed to take Pepsids, that I needed to take omeprazoles, pantoprazoles. And inside my mind, I was like, no, I don't need to take this. This isn't right for me. I took one pill and my body instantly rejected it. I'm just so sensitive to pharmaceutical drugs. I was just like, this isn't working for me. And so I found out the way to heal gastroenteritis, which is what it was high levels of B12. So I went to Walmart and I went and got like those high tablets, like 5,000 milligrams, and I started to eat those. And I was fine. Like 8 months worth of suffering was cleared up in 3 days. And all
Wow.
it I know. And so, anyway, through this mad dash of trying to figure out what was wrong with me again, I got into researching hypnotherapy. And I was realizing that there were some instances of instantaneous healing that were happening with hypnotherapy. I was really interested in UFOs and aliens and things of that nature. And I was researching, I was devouring Dolores Cannon's books. She has so much information about hypnotherapy, and all of her regressions got me instantly into it. And so, of course, I started getting as many books as I could and downloading as much as information as I could, going onto YouTube and going down all these mad rabbit holes to figure it out. And then I hooked up with, but I got in contact with a hypnotherapist, and I had my first hypnotherapy session, and it went amazing. And it really cleared up a lot of things for me that I was experiencing, as far as besides just my stomach issues, just other issues in my body. She was able to do a body scan and heal those things. I was able to go into a couple of my past lives and figure out a little bit more about me, and why I'm dealing with so many things that I am in this lifetime based on so many other traumas from past lifetimes. And so, of course, as soon as that happened to me, I was like, well, here I am, the healed healer again. So this is going to be the next avenue of mine. It's just like everything that I have to heal in myself is something that I become instantly a master at, and healing in other people. And so I really do believe that nothing in our life happens to us without reason, and everything that's bad or associated as negative is just a really hard lesson that we're refusing to learn over and over again. It's really just it's perception. Let me tell you, it's perception. And trying
Yeah.
and so yeah, try so that is my least uh applicable of the things that I do. I have the least amount of knowledge in that. But however, I do feel as if that is one of the most powerful things I can do for people, just to be able to get them in that regressive state, into that state of trance, that somnambulism is just really, it's a powerful thing. And um, even before I do a session, I have to meet with the person. I have to go over a list of what they need done, so that I can be very diligent in the session itself, and make sure we're not veering off into directions that we're not meant to go. But even if we do, I'm prepared. you know,
Got my pen and paper and I know how to use this.
that's right. That's right.
There we go. Well, you're such an interesting person because you also make jewelry.
I do. I've always been an artist, and so I've really been interested in art that melts in any kind. So I did a lot of wax melting art, soap making, candle making. That really moved into um, the witchy stuff that I end up doing. I do a lot of candle magic work with that. But yeah, glass blowing just seemed to be the next step for me as far as melting goes, meltable art. And it was really something to I'll have to tell you about it someday, how I ended up living here in the South Valley, mentoring under the glass blower that I live with. But it was definitely an act of synchronicities and magic in and of itself. So yeah, I do a lot of artwork.
So you have those at Resonant Essentials if somebody's looking for presents and wants.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, glass blowing is very alchemical in nature. You're very much transmuting it in and of itself. You're melting it. It's got to be melted at like somewhere between 1700 to 3000 degrees just to melt. And as far as conductive, it's like I could hold a spoon in front of the flame, and in less than a second, I couldn't hold that spoon anymore. Whereas I can twist the glass in front of it for hours. It's just really, it's a beautiful element to work with.
That's really neat. That is really neat. I am so excited to have you at Resonant Essentials, and I'm so excited that you do so many different things because this makes me feel like she covers so many areas. It's amazing. And the gift that, we're really lucky to work as a collaborative at Resonant Essentials. To have you part of our team has been a blessing. I want
Thank you.
to out and tell everybody, look, if you want to have an appointment with her, she's there definitely on Wednesdays. There's flexibilities that we try to have and try to meet everybody's needs and see what's going on. They can't get in person, then there's always the option of online or through phone. Or like you said, email. I wouldn't like an email because I'm too nosy. I don't want to just read it. I want to ask questions.
Some people, they're just very nervous about it. There's a lot of misinformation and occult about, metaphysics in general. So some people want answers. They just don't want to show their face. They want to dabble, but they don't want to be known. And I respect that.
I'd be like, turn the camera off.
To each their own.
No, I know you're so flexible. It's just you're such a beautiful, beautiful spirit. So we thank you. If anybody wants to make an appointment with you, other than going to the website, I'm looking to see if there's anybody. I look to see if anybody left a message one way. I'm looking to see if anybody did another message to my phone sometime. It is, no, this is not a message for you. Other than going online, how else can they make an appointment? Through the calendar of Resonant Essentials. Do you have your number up?
Yeah, I have my number up on the meme for Resonant Essentials, or you can find me through Instagram or through Facebook. I'm on both of those websites. I'm not a Twitter person. I don't get involved into politics. You can find me on TikTok though. Sunny Days It Better.
Well, you also do, you do TikTok, don't you?
I do.
You did our TikTok for the center.
I have like a lot of
Sure.
I have a performative nature, so even though I'm very much reserved, I do like to do acting and singing and music in that kind of way. So TikTok is really great for me in that avenue of my personality.
That's great. So what we're going to do is they reach out through the website at resonantessentials.com, click on Sunny's picture. It'll take you to her booking calendar. Thank you, Sunny. I want to see if you'll stay on because we need to talk, but we need to stop the live. So I'm going to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you.
Okay.
Can't see how to stop this without stopping the live. So I will be calling you.
Sounds good, Michelle.
We'll see you soon. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.